Okay, hi everyone, and I do hope all of you are home, you, your loved ones, your family are safe. Given everything that is happening in not just our country but worldwide, everything with this coronavirus, it sure feels different, it sure feels a very unreal experience rather, to be getting out of our box, getting out of our regular routines and trying to get back actually to doing what we do best. And that, yes, is the teaching learning experience that still has to stay alive, that still has to persist and continue no matter what happens. And so, as part of our Don Bosco College Hospitality Studies team, we do wish that in spite of the lockdown, in spite of everything that is going on, we still can hold on to our convictions and to our belief that we will persevere, we will get through this. It's all about thinking out of the box, and it's all about getting adjusted to what we now call as the new normal. This is one of my first videos today, and it's definitely a trial, but I do hope that in future we are going to have a lot more interaction and a lot more sharing of our work, our experiences, and yes, of course, everything that we learn together at Don Bosco College Hospitality Studies. My dear students, today what I would like to talk about is a question which is on everybody's mind. So is this really the new normal? And is this new normal going to persist? Is it going to continue? Let me talk about this new normal with the crux or with the most important aspect of the new normal being you and me, people. Now, when we talk about people, if you do remember, we studied about people being the most important, or people being the greatest asset to an organization. And students, if you do remember, this was in our subject HRM, and that's Human Resource Management. So when we speak about human resources, we talk about personnel, we talk about manpower, and we discussed in great length the importance of manpower, the importance of human resources to an organization. In fact, we also spoke about a statement which we discussed very often in the course of the year, and that was people are the greatest asset to a company. Why? Because over a period of time, people will appreciate in their competencies, their abilities, their skills. Whereas yes, you may have the state-of-the-art technology, you may have your computers, you may have the works going for you in the company, but that will depreciate in value. But it is your manpower, it is your human resource that will always appreciate, given the right training, the development, and of course the motivation to work. Now with this lockdown, with this coronavirus pandemic, we need to understand the emergence of this new normal. It's not just a word, it's not just a phrase coined out of the blue. This new normal is definitely real. And in the past few months, my dear students, we have seen the transition globally in the work culture with regard to companies, industries trying to adapt, trying to change the way they operate in order to get back on their feet, in order to get started. It is but obvious with this lockdown for so many months, economy is suffering. We are absolutely down in the slump, and yes, we as a human race have to pull ourselves together and pull ourselves out of the economy that is slowly but surely definitely withering away. Now, how do we do that? We do that merely by focusing on that greatest asset in an organization, people. So what do we do when we talk about human resources, when we talk about an HR department? How are they going to get through their employees? How are they going to understand what do we do now in order for us to sustain our employees, and also for us to ensure that our employees are absolutely motivated the way they were before? Uh, let's talk about you guys, all of you who are probably very shortly going to be searching for jobs. Some of you have probably just begun, and some of you will be searching for jobs. What lies ahead? What is out there waiting for all of us who are freshers with that hope, with that aspiration of making it big in our careers? Let me paint you the scene. So imagine you and your friend have probably got your job in this really lovely place, a lovely hotel, a 5-star hotel, and you are looking forward to your orientation day. You are hoping to meet your supervisors, your colleagues, your peers, and maybe get an orientation, a property orientation, a run of all the rules, the regulations, and so on. I do not want to sound pessimistic, but probably your orientation is going to be far from normal. So let's say you and your friend, you get into your hotel, you are there in the lobby, and on any other regular day, it probably would be bustling with activity. There would be people milling around. There would probably be so many of your seniors, your supervisors, waiting to welcome you, to take you around, show you the place, let you know about your job profile, your descriptions, all your roles, and so on. But what do you see greeting you? You maybe have one or two of the employees, maybe some seniors, maybe your manager. They smile, they give you the cursory greeting. They probably give you the handbook, run you through some documentation work, and then say, well, so thank you very much for coming. And that was your orientation. Please get onto the company website. This is the link. And you will understand all about your job, your specifications, the duties that is required of you. And yes, we will be in touch through email, through WhatsApp. And probably our next meeting would be a video call, a conference call, and all the best. And that's your orientation. That probably might be the new normal once we are out of lockdown and once you guys actually start working. So what does this say for all of us today? You know, I was going through a few of these human resource sites while I was preparing for this session, and I came across a very interesting article written by Deborah Tannen. Now, Miss Deborah Tannen is a professor in linguistics in Georgetown University, and she wrote an article, a Politico article, titled "Corona Will Change the World Permanently, Here's How." And now I would like to quote this beautiful statement that she has written in this article. "The comfort of being in the presence of others might be replaced by a greater comfort, and that is absence, especially with those we don't know too well. Instead of asking, is there a reason to do this online? We'll be asking, is there a good enough reason to do this in person?" And yes, this, my students, is something that we need to actually think about. How does this statement, which suggests that we'd probably be more comfortable over a period of time working alone, working in isolation, as compared to working with people, how does this actually affect us all as part of the hospitality industry? Our roles as hospitality professionals is to meet, to greet, to be well groomed, to serve others with a smile, to spread that kind of warmth around. Are we actually going to get to do that? Yes, we will. When and after how long, no one knows. Yes, of course, the COVID pandemic will pass. But until then, here we are, stuck in our four walls. What do we do until then? Now, what happens over a period of time is that while we are sitting here, while we are getting online, which we are all developing little comfort zones. We have kind of built our own little islands. Now, what happens with building this island? There is nothing wrong in enjoying solitude. There is nothing wrong in enjoying your own company. Of course, that's the best. But the point is, let's look at it from a professional working in the industry. We are grooming ourselves, we are training ourselves to be of service to others. But because of this lockdown, because of this quarantine, we are forced to adapt, to adjust to this new normal. You never know, but there might come a time when we will get so comfortable, we will get so used to living in our little spaces, enjoying the time we have alone, we may not really want to finally get out there and start meeting other people. And that is something that research, that studies in human resource management have highlighted. Now, how do we combat this? What do we do? As I was reading, I came across a beautiful article which told us about remotely engaging people. Now, what is the meaning of this? Let's remotely engage. What I am doing right now is precisely that. We are gifted with technology. We are gifted with the best of phones. We have our Wi-Fi systems in place. Now, how do we use this to ensure that yes, while we are physically maintaining that distance, while we are social distancing, we need to understand we cannot emotionally distance. And that is a great probability. That's a high chance that it would actually happen. So what WHO recommends is that we need to remember at the end of the day, we are social beings. And while we are maintaining physical social distancing, at no level whatsoever should we be so comfortable with having our little bubbles or having our little cocoons that we no longer even feel the need to reach out, connect, get in touch with others and keep our bearings together. In fact, a lot of WHO recommendations, and I will send these links later, I will send it to our groups so that maybe if you want to do some more further reading, you will, because it's absolutely interesting to understand the psyche behind emotional well-being and how we human beings are responding to this pandemic. Adjusting to a new reality, working from home, learning from home. Some are on long breaks because companies have shut down. Unfortunately for some, they've probably even lost their jobs. So here we are all sitting at home and just waiting and hoping that maybe things will change, maybe not. Now you can only understand the turmoil, the worry, the frustrations, the anxiety that an individual is going through. So obviously there's going to be mood swings, there's going to be bouts of depression, because social isolation, loneliness is very real. And WHO has highlighted the fact that very often if we do not understand, if we do not grasp the importance of this connectivity with another human being, it could actually blanket us and we would probably think, yeah, it's fine, we are managing. But in reality, we aren't. You know, many complain about having irregular sleep patterns. I'm sure many of us are probably even getting sleep only at 2 and 3 in the morning. Some are complaining of aches and pains and back problems, irritability, psychosomatic disorders. Very much connected to our psyche, very much connected to our emotions and what we're going through. And all this is part of the outcome of the lockdown. And therefore, all of us as a team together need to understand and be aware of it and need to take some concrete action so that we can ensure that we do not succumb and we do not kind of get sucked into this vortex of being isolated and of even probably enjoying the isolation. So I have put together a kind of 4-point reckoner, reading over the past few days on remotely engaging people. I happened to come across some really beautiful human resource sites on how could we bridge this gap using technology, using our virtual connect. And a few of these points is something I would like to share with you today in this session. The first and most important one is something which we have studied at Don Bosco College Hospitality Studies since the first year, and that is communication. Communication skills being the key. But here when we talk about communication, there is a word that they have highlighted, over communicate. Now, what is the meaning of this word over communicate? It simply means don't just wait for people to get in touch with you. Don't just wait for the phone to ring and then say, yeah, hi, what's up, how are you doing? Don't just wait for a text, don't just wait for a message and then reply back. Let's over communicate. Let us get over ourselves, get out of that so-called comfort zone at home or wherever we are, and take that step, take that first step, that initiative to make sure we are communicating with others. We are initiating that call, we are initiating that message or that text. In fact, when they talk about over communication, it's providing any kind of information. I'm sure we all are on our phones, the television is flooded with all sorts of programs, articles, information. No matter what it is, big or small, let's make that effort to communicate it to others. You know, the saying small talk is definitely a big deal. It is. We need to get into that role of making small talk. A simple hi, how are you doing? So, how was your day? So, what was something special you did today? It helps to maintain that connectivity. We need to stay connected because anyways that physical connections are not happening. We are not actually meeting people, but through communicating, through our media, through the internet, through our social sites, we definitely can bridge that gap and stay emotionally connected. The next one, after over communication, is embracing what I am doing right now, and that is the video chats. You know, to be very honest with you, my generation and probably the generations before me find this uncharted territory. To be talking into a screen, to be recording ourselves is something we never in our wildest dreams imagined we would be doing. And definitely as a professor, connecting with students face to face in a classroom is heaven, is absolutely a thrill. It charges us, it vitalizes us. But well, that was the old way. We are now coming into the new normal, and this is what we got to do. We may not like doing it initially, but well, reality check, we always don't get to do what we like. So we need to simply like what we get. And right now, this video recording or maybe even a conference call, a video chat is relatively new area for many of us. But we need to embrace it. We need to understand that the face-to-face conversation matters. It makes a big difference when you read a text from someone or you read an email from someone. And of course, it makes a difference when you see that person right in front of you, even if it's on a screen. So that's the second point. When we talk about bridging the emotional distance, engaging each other, engaging our employers, engaging our employees, making that connect, we talk about what's available. And what's available is something like our video chats. So we need to be consistent. Yes, it takes time to get used to it, but I'm sure over a period of time, we can definitely master it. In fact, when we studied communication skills, I'm sure many of you will remember, we emphasized so much on body language, the art of non-verbal communication. And let me remind you, we spoke about facial expressions, we spoke about oculesics, that is eye contact, we spoke about emoting emotions, expressing ourselves with our body, kinesics if you remember. So we need to make use of what we have. We have our emotions, our expressions, and how do we transmit it? How do we share it? How do we express it? Yes, of course, we can be embracing video chats and making it part of our daily routine. The next point, which is also extremely important, a little difficult to do again, but yes, everything through trial and error, and that is to be proactive. Let us encourage positive, constructive feedback with everybody we are connecting with. Very often, we are only playing the role of a mute spectator. We have someone talking, and then we probably do the listening, and once it's done, we're like, all right, that was good, not bad, and that's it. But no, we need to be proactive. We need to give our feedback. So let's say you're working with a team. Let's say you have a project and you and your group are working together. This is probably now, even during our college hours, or yes, once you're out now into the industry, you may have a lot of projects, a lot of team assignments that you may have to connect through a video chat, conference call, and so on. So what do? Someone gives a bright idea, someone gives a good suggestion. What are you going to do? We need to encourage feedback, constructive criticism, give them a thumbs up, say, oh wow, that's not so bad, but you know what? Why not? Why don't we try it like this? Or let's probably figure out another way. That's what they're trying to tell us to do. Because when we encourage others, obviously you love to be encouraged, I love to be encouraged. So when we encourage others, what are we doing? We are not only building their self-esteem, but yes, we are feeling good about ourselves, and that kind of has a ripple effect, and there is our connection. So when we are proactive, we are building each other up, we kind of become really interesting cheerleaders, and that's what we need to tune into when we are connecting virtually. And yes, another very important point, which is my last and final point, keep the organizational climate alive. Keep your team spirit alive. You know, when we studied in one of our management chapters, we studied Henry Fayol. You remember him? I'm sure you do. So when we studied Henry Fayol, we studied his 14 principles of management, yes. And one of the principles of management, although it was the last one, I always found it to be the most important and very interesting one. It was esprit de corps, the French word, body and spirit together, team spirit. How do we foster this team spirit? We need to engage in friendly competitions, contests. We need to kind of get our team on the same page. So I want you guys to think about ways and how you would be able to encourage your teammates, your colleagues, once you're out there in the workforce. Let's say you're a team leader. What are you going to do to boost morale? How are you going to get all your team together? How are you going to pump up their adrenaline? How are you going to make them feel good about themselves? Are there any contests you can organize? Can you kind of tap into their talents? What are their talents? Do you even know their talents? So as managers, as team leaders, we need to understand there is more to our employees than just their qualification or just what they do, on the job. Maybe some like drawing, some like painting, some like photography. Why not have a competition? Let's put it out there. Let's put it on the group. Let's talk about it. That is what we need to do in these times, because it's going to bridge our distance. So, my dear friends, my dear students, I know this is a really short, a short capsule of trying to help each other understand the importance of emotionally keeping it together, although physically we are at a distance. A very big part of human resource management is the togetherness that binds and makes a company. An organization is not just about its profit statement. An organization is not just about meeting its targets and deadlines. A company is about its people. And what are we doing to ensure that the people, the human resources are fine? As I was reading, I also came across a very beautiful line by Mr. Jim Harrenberg, the Chief Operations Officer at Apex Benefits. It's one of the sites that I have been accessing, a beautiful site, and yes, I will send you the links, and hopefully if you are interested in doing some further reading, it's very insightful and I'm sure you would like it. So what does Mr. Jim Harrenberg say? While it is said that it is very important to control a crisis, and yes, we are definitely in a pandemic, the COVID-19 crisis. While it is very important to control the crisis, it is equally important never to waste a crisis. one of the benefits to our world is that COVID-19 is pressure testing and accelerating change in many areas of our society. And that is precisely what we as hospitality professionals, that is precisely what we here at DBC-HS want you students to think about. Through all your team lunches, through all your, all your events, you have worked your best, you have given your best. It has always been meeting deadlines, it's always been with high pressure situations, and you have excelled. Right now, this is precisely what we are going through. Pressure testing times. Is it going to collapse us, break us down? Or is it going to build us up, make us stronger as the human resource force together? So the trickiest part of a virtual workplace is, how do we engage our teams? How do we engage each other remotely? And I'm quickly going to recap what we just spoke about today in this session. What do? We over communicate, we get out there, we make the small talk, and we make it count. We embrace our video chats. That's what I'm trying to do right now. So we embrace our video chats, we make it part of our regular daily routines. We get proactive. We take that step first, we encourage, we appreciate our fellow colleagues, we give them that constructive feedback, and we make them feel good. And last but not the least, we keep that working climate alive with our enthusiasm and with the spirit of boosting our morale. So I do hope, my dear friends, my dear students, this little brief session today will kind of give you a little eye-opener on what lies ahead. Yes, this is the new normal, but it's not that it's so new that we can't deal with it. We are definitely going to deal with it, and we are going to be masters of it very soon. My final statements to you all are: engage virtually, but engage emotionally. Yes, dear students, my dear friends, we need to take that step forward. That's what being together, that's what the human race needs, that's what human resources needs. Thank you very much for listening, and we do hope to have many more sessions like this. Your comments, your views, your feedbacks are more than welcome. I will also be posting some of the links that I read up on our groups. Please be sure to read some of them and give me your feedback. Thank you.